The system isn't just failing, it's completely inverted. A federal judge just ordered the release of an MS-13 terrorist, Kilmar Obrego-Garcia, and blocked ICE from re-detaining him. In Kansas City, the government's $1 million grocery store is rotting with empty shelves. Uber's new women-only driver program lets biological men identify as women to get matched. Mike Lindell just won his appeal case against a rigged $5 million ruling while anonymous Pentagon cowards attack Pete Hegseth. And the Fire Aid concert, raising $100 million that never reached a single fire victim. Every institution is broken. Every system is corrupted. The rules, though, they only apply to you. So wait till you see what else they're doing. Now, the system is broken, of course, and so is men's health across America. Most guys blame aging for low energy, but there is a hidden culprit destroying testosterone, the so-called healthy food you're probably eating regularly. It isn't junk food or sugar. It's something that experts told you was good for you. Yet science shows it devastates testosterone, crushing energy and motivation. Just a few servings weekly can wreck your hormones, but there is hope. Men who eliminated this one food are building muscle, burning fat, and feeling stronger than they have in years. Sculpt Nation's experts reveal exactly what this testosterone killer is in the breakthrough video. Visit sculptnation.com/NNN. That's sculptnation.com/NNN to discover what food to avoid. This one change could transform everything. So don't wait. Okay, so we got a lot of mixed up news here, a lot of topics to cover. Did you see this? Elon Musk has launched a new diner, and he says that, I think, next summer? And Elon Musk Tesla AI-powered humanoid robots will bring the food to your car next year from his diner. That is wild. We are now officially living in the future. And we got this. Remember that guy who threw rocks and bricks at ICE officers on video? Yep. Well, that mask didn't help. He's now been arrested, turned himself in at a border checkpoint.
You're under arrest for assaulting federal agents.
Yep. You are officially a moron for doing that. And we have this federal judge ordering the release of MS-13 terrorist Kilmar Obrego-Garcia and blocks ICE from re-detaining him.
Separate judge heard a major update in the case of the Maryland man, Kilmar Obrego-Garcia. He's the illegal migrant sent to the maximum security prison in El Salvador for a while and later returned to the U.S. to face human trafficking charges. He pleaded not guilty. Today, a federal judge in Tennessee ordered the release of Obrego-Garcia from custody while he awaits trial. Now, a separate judge in Maryland ruling shortly after that immigration authorities, ICE, must allow him to return to Maryland, blocking the Trump administration from detaining him upon his release from criminal custody in Tennessee. So they can't pick him up. That same judge ruling ICE must also provide 72 hours notice before deporting him to another country. Joining me now is former acting DHS Deputy Secretary Ken Cuccinelli. Ken, shocked he's out?
I am shocked he's out. I mean, this isn't just about the human trafficking charges where he was caught more or less dead to rights, but the full context of this guy's rap sheet isn't somebody you would let out easily. I mean, you're supposed to judge a flight risk. I can hardly think of a more likely flight risk. And yet this judge lets him walk. And of course, within minutes, the Maryland judge, Obama appointee, puts an immigration order in place to try to block ICE from doing their job. This is essentially using a criminal proceeding to block immigration enforcement, and there's nothing in the law that allows that. The federal government can do both of those things at the same time. I mean, they can criminally prosecute him and they can process him or remove him on an immigration basis at the same time. But these judges are trying to stand in the way of that.
Right. Just keep in mind, he was originally sent to El Salvador, where he belongs. He got here illegally, and he wasn't allowed to stay there because of fear of a rival gang, who, by the way, has since been scooped up in El Salvador, no longer a threat to that country. Now it's one of the safest in the region. And Kilmar Obrego-Garcia is a despicable guy. I mean, domestic abuse. He's been accused of unlawful transportation of undocumented aliens. Remember the video that we saw in 2022 of a van full of people? He's got $1,400 worth of cash. Then we have two witnesses by the government saying he's part of a human smuggling operation. But that was...
Well, now he is free to walk the nation. Dan Bongino also reporting on Elpidio Reyna, subject who allegedly threw rocks at federal officers. We got him arrested at the U.S.-Mexico border. This we also have. The new Sunfresh is open for shoppers at the corner of Linwood and Prospect. The city invested millions in an 80,000 square foot building, ending the food desert in the neighborhood and contributing to the economic redevelopment of the area, Kansas City. And then we have this. So that was, this was the 14th of June, 2018. Oh, look at that beautiful grocery store. And now we have this just 11 hours ago. The government of Kansas tried to subsidize a grocery store. It failed miserably. Rotten smell, shelves empty, can't buy anything, no food. Don't show this as a Ramandami. Empty shelves at Sunfresh off Prospect. So that party is over. Now this from Libs of TikTok. Uber is planning to roll out a new women's preference program, similar to the women rider preferences program, which allow female riders to select only women as their drivers. The problem is Uber has a gender declaration form that allows male drivers to identify as women. What is the point of a program made for women when men can just identify as them? Yeah, so that's happening with Uber. They call it more choice, more control.
At Uber. Hi, everyone. I'm Camille Irving. I lead U.S. and Canada mobility at Uber, and I am so excited to share some big news for Uber that's very personal for me. Starting next month, women drivers and women riders in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Detroit will have the option to request a ride with another woman. As a woman who both drives and rides with Uber, I know that it can be really powerful when another woman gets in the car with me. It's a sense of comfort and a sense of connection. Over the years, women in our community have told us that they would love the option to be able to just choose to match with another woman. And so we've been working on it. We've had features live in international markets since 2019. And now, 100 million trips later, it's time to bring these features right here to the U.S.
Yeah, but of course, Libs of TikTok pointing out the flaw in the whole program. Not going to understand why a woman would want to have a woman driver. I've had some pretty creepy Uber drivers in my time, and I couldn't imagine what it feels like to be a woman in a situation like that. Kevin Dalton says, shamefully ignoring the other 62 genders, Uber rolls out new women preferences for drivers and riders in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Detroit. And then we have this. Anonymous deep state hacks letter in Pentagon against Hegseth, completely ridiculous. Let's listen here.
The president's, but really what they're doing is subverting.
This is Sean Purnell, U.S. Assistant to the Secretary of Defense of Public Affairs.
A republic. So the real dangers to democracy are unelected deep state bureaucrats who are trying to thwart the president's agenda. He was elected by the American people to implement. So it's completely ridiculous. We reject it wholesale. And I mean, look, the secretary's doing an amazing job. I mean, he has full operational control of our southern border. We've got European allies spending 5% on defense. We've got a force posture shift to Indo-PACOM happening right now. Historic recruiting across the board. People are showing up and joining the military and gangbusters to support this president and this secretary. And so we are clicking on all cylinders here in the Pentagon, and we're not going to let a bunch of anonymous deep state hacks detract from that agenda.
As a young officer, I was there for the workup in '79, but we rotated back right before the assault. But the failed assault on Tehran back in '79 and '80. In compared to what Pete Hegseth in the Defense Department, most complicated military operation since World War II, pulled off flawlessly. That speaks for itself of how the building's being run, how it's being run now. There's obviously tons of reforms and structural changes, but recruiting's up, morale's up, the warrior ethos is up. Here's what's so shocking about, and even the Daily Mail, they were anonymous sources on a letter that they will not reveal, right? They pulled selective quotes from I've never seen anything like it, from a letter that it was as bad as the hit on Trump the other day by Wall Street Journal. So Sean, how are you guys going to counter this? I mean, I think it's my recommendation, all the reforms he's doing and the structural reforms he's doing, you guys and Pete ought to be more out front on this. We just had the guys from the Senate, Hawley and Johnson, on about the slowdown of the confirmations. We know that's hurt the.
Moving right along, we also have this news from Mike Lindell. You may not have heard this, but Mike Lindell, legal defense, winning appeal in $5 million election data challenge. In a dramatic turn of events, the federal appeals court has tossed out the $5 million arbitration ruling against real Mike Lindell. The court found that arbitrators had overstepped their bounds by rewriting the terms of Mike's legendary 2021 Cyber Symposium election integrity challenge. The decision is a direct blow to the media narrative that tried to discredit Lindell's 2020 election claims. He calls it a miracle.
Guys, this is the
Mike Lindell has some breaking news for us. So we're going to go ahead and bring in LindellTV.com CEO Mike Lindell. I know it's related to a very important case, but I don't even know enough to tee it up. So just take it away. I can't wait to hear it, Mike.
Yeah, you guys, this will be the number one story in the world, or it should be, because it was the number one story in the world a couple years ago. Everybody remembers the Cyber Symposium and the $5 million challenge. Well, I went to binding arbitration, and this guy, Zeidman, they decide that he wins the $5 million. And everybody remember when they announced that, on a Tuesday, Fox News, this all happened the same week. Fox News, the number one story in the world, Dominion settled for $787 million. On Wednesday, Mike Lindell's evidence is all wrong. He loses $5 million. On Friday, the Fox fires Tucker Carlson. All in 1 week. It's like, if you talk about our elections or if you have evidence, you're going to get sued. Well, today, just now, 10 minutes ago, everybody, a federal court in Minnesota appeals court overruled them, and it happens, my lawyer said, less than 1/100th of 1%. This doesn't happen. This is a miracle, and it's righteous. They totally vindicated. I sent you a text, Emerald. I don't know if you want to read that. That was just from the.
I have that.
Yeah, go ahead and read that.
I have that from the opinion. The court. This is amazing news. First off, congratulations. In the opinion, the judge writes, or the court writes, quote, "We conclude that the panel effectively amended the unambiguous challenge contract when it used extrinsic evidence to require that the data provided was packet capture data, thereby violating established principles of Minnesota contract law and our arbitration precedents. Accordingly, we reversed the grant of Zeidman's motion to confirm because, quote, the arbiters exceeded their powers. This is according to 9 U.S. Code 10A4, if you're looking for, the legal basis there. I'm like, this is huge. I can't tell. I have heard so many times since I started working with you, when I talk about election fraud and how we continue to expose it, people say, well, but yeah, didn't Mike Lindell have to pay out $5 million for being wrong? Yeah. They use that. That is, I think, most often used to try to knock your credibility, Mike.
That was it. That's what they tried to do. Let's destroy Mike Lindell. When we had the Cyber Symposium, even the Facebook fact checkers, they were there. I said, is this data from the 2020 election? And they said, yes. Everybody, there was hundreds of cyber experts, upwards of 100, including Harry Hursty from these guys that were there. All of them said it was from the 2020 election. None of them challenged. And here this Simon, which I believe was a complete setup, if you knew who his lawyer was, that has ties back to the CIA and stuff, back in the day with the evidence that I had gotten. And also this from Dennis Montgomery, by the way, everybody. And this was that evidence, or part of that evidence. And then what they did, their routers or routers, and they're actually calling. They were directly involved too, and I don't know how, because when this came out of the that ruling, remember these guys went to a panel, they lost, then they brought it to this binding arbitration panel.
So great news for Mike Lindell. Congratulations on beating that one. Scott Jennings leaves a liberal reporter silent after she claims it's not just the left being violent. Scott, well, listen,
literally seen people.
The left has a problem with violence. It is in its heart right now.
I don't think it is only the left. I mean, you have literally seen people on both sides committing violence. I think the problem is not the left. I think it is the extremes on both sides of the party. And that is what's happening. Like they're the loudest voices, whether the leaders want them or not. And they're the ones who tend to be the most violent. I don't think that's fair to say it's only the left. I mean,
but why is it happening? Why do late night comedians go on TV and encourage or coddle or give lip service to this vandalism of what went on with Tesla dealerships and so on? Why are there so many prominent people?
People didn't get hurt.
I totally get why Luigi Mangione would murder a guy. Like, why? I don't
listen. I'm not for vandalism, but like
it's more than that. They firebomb these things. Like it's obviously
dangerous, but it's happening on both sides.
What person on the right is committing violence today?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, when you're in power, you don't tend to be the ones that are doing that. But I think after they lost the election in 2020, there was a mob and a person died, and it was a riot at the Capitol. It was crazy.
It was a terrible day, and it should not have happened.
It was a horrible day.
And
it's not the only
check my calendar, and it was 5.5 years ago.
Can we also talk about the fact that someone broke into Nancy Pelosi's house and violently beat up her husband?
You're saying that homeless drug addict is a conservative?
Well, I mean,
the left has a problem with
you got
violence.
Scott Jennings, man. He's always nailing it down. We have this. This is from Representative Kevin Kiley. We've learned that the $100 million raise at the Celebrity Fire Aid concert actually went to LA fire victims. Said the money went to nonprofits, many that have nothing to do with fire relief. I've asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to open an investigation. So we've got all this happening in the world, and soon we may see Tesla robots delivering our food. If you got value from this mix-up of news, tap subscribe, because here's my final thought. So this is anarcho-tyranny in action. MS-13 terrorists walk free while rock throwers get arrested. And government grocery stores fail while private businesses get crushed by regulations. Woke corporations prioritize gender ideology over women's safety. Fire victims getting nothing while nonprofits get millions. Mike Lindell fights back and wins, proving the system only wins when we fight. They release the violent criminals and prosecute the patriots. They fund failure and punish success. They protect predators and abandon victims. But here's the truth. The system isn't broken by accident. It's broken by design. They want chaos. They want you demoralized. They want you to give up. Don't. So should federal judges who release terrorists face impeachment? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments. And you can support the fight at shop.nextnewsnetwork, where we are the news now.